say, everybody and see that we're live.
Oh, all right.
Yes, we are live. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Halal Stock Hunters not pick of the week, midweek review with Afiq and Adi. Good morning, Adi. How are you?
Good morning, Afiq. It's good again to come on board and to be actually taking a look at some of the stocks that we have been covering, and excited, right, to actually look at the charts and see where we can actually enter, take profits, or sometimes we have no choice but to take a stop loss. Right?
So today on our midweek review, we are going to be covering a few of the counters that we look at in our model portfolio. So if you haven't heard before, we actually have been maintaining a list of counters that we have gone in, as well as a watch list of potential counters which we think might be interesting to look at and maybe add to the portfolio. So we're going to review. So let's start today with something very strong, something very, very strong. We'll share a win that we did. One of the stocks that we picked were on the 17th of May, looking at my list. Yes, 17th of May was Intuit, INTU. And I'm going to leave it to Adi to share with you the good news. And we entered Intuit on the 17th of May at $419. Guess what's the price today? Adi, all yours.
Right, let me just share my screen. Okay, so let's look at Intuit right now. Right, Intuit on the daily time frame. As you can see here, the dotted line is where we mark our entry. 14th of May, this is the line that shows that the date that we actually started looking. At this point, we were discussing about, okay, price is at a resistance point, but should we take or not take? And however, looking at the structure of higher lows, we decided that, well, this is a stock that is worth actually going into, right? And at this point right now, we have drawn this particular slanting line, and you can see the channel is still there, and price have actually reached that channel, and it's even close above it, right? So actually, this particular stock, I can say, is in a bullish run, right, Afiq?
Yeah, it looks very, very nice. It's a nice gradual uptrend. I'm looking at my charts as well. And guess what, folks? Considering that we entered only about 3 weeks ago, 17, yeah, about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago at the price of $419 per share. Today, it is trading at $465.
Nice. Nice development. All right, so Afiq, what do we do now since we have the price have actually touched our take profit position? Are we still going to let this run, or are we just going to take profits, Afiq?
What do you think? I think for me, I would like to see the profit in my pocket. So I would say I want to take that profit and then watch, because it has been hitting that resistance line up there. It might go downward, it might continue upward, but let's be happy with some money. Right, folks? And from a long-term perspective, I do like Intuit as a company, and knowing, the market fundamentals are a little bit iffy right now, considering that the Fed did say they want to increase interest rates, if I'm not mistaken. Kan, Adi?
Yep, correct. They might actually be increasing interest rates, and if that happens, we might see a retracement in the stock market. However, there is no confirmation yet. They are still talking about it. They're going to look at more economic data that's going to come out. So at this point, yeah, it is still 50-50. And yeah, it's okay for us, I believe, Afiq, if we take profits here. It's good to have some profits in our pockets. This will be our first stock that actually we take profit on.
Yeah, so let's take profit. Okay, so let's confirm that on this note, I'm going to put into our model portfolio. Today is the 9th of June, so I'll put in the sell trade tonight on the 9th of June when the markets open, 2021. And there we go. Okay. Yes, so after we take profit, what are we going to do with this particular counter?
Since this is quite a good counter fundamentally, right, you were saying, so we might still monitor, and if it actually decides to retrace lower, we might actually, look to enter again. So this is the next swing low, which is around the $430 zone. So if it ever comes back down around this area, we might want to take a take a look at whether we should consider buying this stock again at a cheaper price.
Okay, awesome stuff. So once after this has been sold, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back onto our watch list. All right, I'm going to put this back onto our watch list after it's sold and target to buy in at say 4:30 if it touches that line.
Yep, 4:30. And as you can see, you look at it on the left side of the screen, you know, as this stock was going up, right, it does retrace. And then it goes up, it retraces, you know. So we might be actually going in on a retracement, and the retracement can be quite deep. Like for example, this one, it actually, you know, the lows of 360 went up to as high as 424, came back to about 368. Even at this point, it was 364. So folks, when you are actually, you know, investing, of course, you want to go into the long term. In this case, we are doing a swing trade. Swing trade is not an intraday trade, okay? It's actually a trade that can last weeks and months. And we are looking at basically using technical analysis to basically plan our entry and also our exit. So at this point, we think that it's good to exit, but when do we re-enter again? So we need to actually look at the past. You can see that this stock can retrace quite deeply, right? It can even, so from here at around 422, it went down to about 364. So you have about 34 or $50, right? Retrace. So if ever this particular stock retraces about $50-$60, I think you might just want to put a note on our Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
We might actually look to re-enter again.
Yep.
So, yeah. Sometimes, folks, price may actually retrace to retest its support level. It's resistance then support, right? So let me just point out to you that this entry point of ours is a resistance. Now it has become support. So if price ever comes back down here, I think that is a better entry effect because it is a retest of the resistance now turn support.
Ah, okay, that's fantastic. So if I'm looking at about 420, right, 418, 420 instead of 430, so I'll put in our target price at 420-ish just to see if it does come back down and we can buy in there. So yes, I have put in the take profit order and we'll see how that goes tonight when the market's open. And then folks, if you're watching, look out for our next midweek review next Wednesday. But if you can't wait and you want more information, we have the Halal Investing Network VIP circle. Go to halalinvestingnetwork.com. There is a special offer just for you if you're watching and take up on that because we're taking it down quite soon. I think the 30% off our yearly subscription. So what's our next counter we're going to be covering, Adi? Oh, wait, you should be asking me that, not me that asking you. Right. So if I look at Intuit and we're taking profit on Intuit, I would love to look at one of our more popular ones that we've been talking about, which was actually Freeport. Because Freeport was quite volatile. Freeport went up and down, and as of right now, Freeport we're up only about 2%. We bought in at $40.32. And looking at what we're at the chart right now, is it time? What should we be doing, Adi?
Like I said, I think I did talk about this particular stock, Freeport McMoran. And you can see that when it makes a new high, it tends to actually go sideways, right? Like in this area here, you can see. So now that it's actually made a new high somewhere on the 11th of May, right? On the 10th of May, it's made a new high. It has actually retraced lower and then it's now going sideways again, right? So, but as long as this support level, okay, which I've actually drawn in blue, it's not broken, then I think this stock can still move up. But my thinking is this, right? Since it's a sideways stock and our entry is not bad, we entered at around $40.32. Why not if it ever goes back to around $44, right? We just take the profits first. Okay. There's two ways to go about doing it. Actually, one is to actually take profit at 10% profit, or we let it go, test it all-time high at $46 again. But I think it's going to go sideways for this particular stock. So we might want to deploy our range trading strategy, which is to actually take profit when it reaches around maybe 40, 44, 45 maybe.
Okay.
if we are confident that, I guess 45 could be our take profit level. And if it goes down again, then we could actually be entering this stock again at a lower price. But I guess 10% for a couple of weeks of trading, right? If this was entry was in April, so yeah, for about 1-2 months, 10% I think is a good amount to actually, grow our coffers.
That makes a lot of sense. Let me put this in here. Previously on our trading diary, and folks, you should totally be having a trading diary, by the way. In our trading journal, trading diary, I've put in the take profit price for Freeport at $46, actually, which was that high up there. So it's going to be moving sideways. And if it does go up to $45, $46, like you said, we can do our range trading strategy. And I'm just waiting for it to go back up now. And so we're absolutely fine. We're not in the red for Freeport. We are okay for now, so we just hold on and watch. Somebody once told me, ride the roller coaster.
Yeah.
So, okay, for Freeport, we're gonna continue holding. Let's look at another one, which has been in our portfolio for a while, and it was one of our more one of the more interesting stocks to look at, and that is Crocs, CROX.
All right, so looking at Crocs right now. Again, Crocs seems the chart looks similar to Philip McMorran, right? Just now, whereby
Freeport, yes.
Sorry,
Freeport, yes.
Freeport, right? So okay, so it looks similar. Crocs will actually go sideways, and then it jumps up, makes a new high, and then now it's actually making a sideways movement again, right? So at this point, it's about near the our entry price, right? I think.
Yep, it actually has been moving sideways. We entered Crocs at 104, 104.23. We entered Crocs.
What's the date we entered? I think
5th of May.
5th of May. Okay, 5th of May. Let me just mark it here. Entry 5th of May.
Yep, and we actually put in a take profit at 109, and it actually did touch 109. It went close to it a couple of times.
Okay, so it touches 109 a couple of times, right? But no, actually it did not. It only touched once.
Yep.
It touched once here, and then after that, for this candle here, I think it was at 108.70. And then the most recent high was at 107.02. So we practically bought in the middle of the range, right? So actually that's not the best entry. The best entry would have if we had waited and bought at around $98. But it's okay. It's also a chance for the audience to learn also that if market is ranging, but we wouldn't know, right? At this point here when we bought, we wouldn't know that this is going to range, correct? It was just moving up and up, correct?
Yep.
But you see there's a bearish engulfing candle here, this particular long black candle. And then after that, it actually went lower. The good thing is that after seeing this candle, we see price still being supported at 97.89. So, which is good, which means to say that the bulls really have conviction and they're not allowing the bears to actually push price lower. But like I said, there is still the risk of this gap here being filled, which means that price might just go lower, touch this zone, and then move up further. So I would say that if it goes back to around one, I think I wouldn't mind just taking a bit of profits and looking for a better entry for Crocs, I think. Okay,
sounds good to me. And so I think our take profit target price would be about 109-ish, 108, 109.
108, 109.
Yep. I'll put that there, 108, 109. And then when we do touch that point, we'll actually get out of that trade, lock in our profits, and then hold and put Crocs back onto our watch list, right? Again, folks, if you're impatient, you got to join our HIN VIP circle. We talk about this so much more, and our community there is rock solid. You have access to me and Adi, and well, I'm not going to say more than that. Okay, so that's
we definitely have more indicators actually when we cover these stocks and more stocks in the VIP section. at this point when we covered, for our weekly sessions with you guys, this is basically to show you there's some of the things that we use to analyze the charts, but there are more things actually that we are using inside HI and VIP premium community. Yep.
All right, that's awesome. So we know the direction for Crocs that we're going to take. Let's cover a couple more. Okay, that's what we have on our portfolio. How about we look at some of the things that are on our watch list? What do you think, Adi?
Yep, sure. What's the next stop you want me to take a look at, Afiq?
Let's pull out one. Let's look at Zoom. We are using Zoom, and so Zoom has always been one of those really good plays that people have been asking about. So let's look at Zoom.
Okay, here we have the Zoom chart on the weekly time frame. As you guys have seen, we have drawn this particular pennant, which is actually a bullish pennant. So we are thinking that, once it breaks above this particular resistance, price might just continue higher, right? However, it has broken. In fact, price have actually broken above this particular line, right? And let me just go to the daily time frame. Okay, this is the daily time frame. So you can see that price have actually broken above, right? So let me just draw some arrows to show okay, the support levels of this particular stock. And okay, so you have a point here, you have another point here, and another point here where price is seen bouncing up from this support, this slanting line support, right? So right now you can see that this particular level here is a resistance, and maybe Afiq, we can put Zoom in our portfolio still if, let's say, it ever comes back down to this level.
Let's see.
So I'm going on the daily time frame. So because if we want to, when we analyze, we can analyze using the weekly time frame. But when we enter, we might want to enter on the daily time frame for more precise entry. Okay, so yeah. So what may happen from here is that, right, price might actually move down and test this particular support, which is around the 304 level. So if it goes down to that level, I think we might want to actually initiate a buy trade.
Okay, all right. I'll put that into our watch list. Our target buy price is actually 306. Okay, target buy is at 306. That's going into our journal. And we will continue watching this stock with great interest. What would you do if it breaks at 345 resistance?
What would I do? I would still wait for a retracement before I enter, because I do not want to actually chase prices. As you can see, when price actually, you can see that in this area when it was moving in a pendant, right, there was quite a bit of volatility, right? Price from 365 jumped up all the way to 485, goes down back to 334, and then goes back up to 448. And it keeps on jumping up and down. But at this point here, you can see that volatility has died down, right? Volatility has died down. So we do not see those kind of big jumping moves at this moment on Zoom. So why not we just allow, the price to fall back lower and retest this zone before we actually buy. But if it goes higher, then possibly if it actually goes up and then it comes back down to retest this area, we might be buying at this level, at around the 341 level. If it actually goes up, I'm not joining the up move. I'm just waiting for it to retrace for me to have a better entry.
All right, that's awesome. And so with Zoom, it looks like it did break that one. And so now we're looking for a buying opportunity. So we're no longer waiting for things to happen. We're actually looking for a buying opportunity. Previously, in our previous videos, we did mention that Zoom was something to watch, considering that it was on a slight downtrend in that particular pennant that you're looking at right now. And so now that it's broken that slanting resistance, now we're going to look for a buying opportunity, right? Because it looks like the trend might be reversing. Am I right to say that, Adi?
Yeah, so the trend is not reversing, it's just a retrace, right, at this point. So I would just put this level as our planned entry. And if we manage to buy it here, we can actually, hold on to this stock if it reaches because the next resistance level is at around this level, right? Which is at around the 444. So if we buy around here, this is our first take profit, and the next take profit will be the next all-time high. So for this particular stock, we might want to have 2 take profit levels.
Okay. And Zoom, from a fundamentals perspective, Zoom is one of the more solid companies, and it does have the use of it. I think I mentioned this in our previous stock pick of the week, right? Last week or previous week, I can't remember, where I did say that for me, Zoom is something that we play long term. As long as COVID is still here to stay, as long as hybrid work arrangements or even remote work arrangements are going to be part of the norm, and they always talk about the new normal, Zoom will definitely continue to go up, in my honest opinion. And folks, on that note, do your own due diligence. Do your own due diligence. After all, we do this for entertainment and education, but you got to have your own trading plan, your own strategy. And if you do need help with any of these things, do reach out to me or Adi. Drop us a text. We are available on Facebook or on Messenger. Just drop us a text, and we'll see how best we can help you. All right?
Yep, for sure. We also provide courses where if you want to just, if you are just starting on investing and you want to start investing actively in the stock market, which is where we are focusing on, is the US stock market due to its liquidity as well as its international flavor, right? US stocks basically in a lot of hedge funds portfolio, pension funds, and all the big the big funds which can actually be worth hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. So that's why we are interested in the US stock market, because of its global nature and the fact that the companies that produce these products and services, we have them in Singapore as well. You have McDonald's, you have Microsoft, you have Hewlett Packard, you have whatnots, Google, Facebook, all these companies, their services, we are using them in Singapore, and we kind of feel like, hey, why don't we invest in these companies that, have a global flavor? And therefore, it has a lot of promising, potential for stocks like this moving forward.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I'm going to stop your share here so that we can actually have a proper conversation about this. And Adi brings up a fantastic point. Not only do we want to look at global companies that make an impact to the world, because ultimately, what is a business? A business is really just in something that solves a need, it fills a need, right? And if you can fill a need for one person, is okay. You want to fill a need for 10 people, is also pretty okay. But if you can fill the need for the entire world, that's where your profit comes in. That's where you make an impact in the world. And these are where we look at global companies, right? From a fundamentals perspective, you want a company that fulfills a massive need around the world. It becomes essential to to the world's lives, really. And on that note, when we look at things on the US exchanges, that once it's listed on the US exchange, that number one, it's a quality company. Again, not all companies listed are good. Okay, we do have to go through our process of picking these particular companies, but the moment they are listed, it means that they do have a certain caliber, number one. And number two, on a more general note, the US exchanges do have the oversight of their watchdog, the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC. And the SEC is very, very strict. They are very on the ball when it comes to this. And so you can be assured that there is a policeman, a watchdog, making sure that these companies stay on the right path. And so with that, that's the main reason why we're looking at companies that are on the US exchanges, US markets, and not just here locally in Singapore. Because we do get questions from our participants, our community, saying, hey, why don't you look at Singapore exchange? We even have some people in Europe who are asking us, are you looking at exchanges in some of the countries there? And long story short, the main reason we look at the US markets is because of volume. We look at liquidity, we look at oversight, we look at the counters that are listed there. These are MNC, big companies. So folks, if you're wondering why we only look at the US exchanges, that's the main reason why. Kan, Adi?
Yes, Afiq, thanks for explaining further why we are looking at the US stock market. And yep. basically the global is global nature, as well as the fact that these companies are MNCs. And and most important, I just would like to highlight that Afiq, does his research and ensures that the stocks that we look at are also Sharia compliant, right, Afiq?
It has to be halal. Dude, we have to be halal. Like one of the biggest things that count. Okay, so in my professional career, right, I teach people how to invest. A lot of times I teach people how to invest. I share with them whatever the knowledge I have. And naturally, because I am Muslim, the community that comes to me are, our Muslim community. And one of the biggest questions that they always ask is this thing halal? Is what I'm doing when I'm investing, yeah, I'm making money, alhamdulillah, good. But we always say this, is it halal? Because one of the questions at the grave, if you're Muslim and you know about this, there are 5 questions that are asked at the grave. And one of the questions is, how did you make your money? Did you make it in a halal way? And it's one of the scariest questions to be asked, especially when you say, oh no, all my profits are non-halal, and then you consume that profits that are non-halal. It's scary, isn't it, folks? And so, yes, of course, we have to do our due diligence. And inshallah, here in the Halal Investing Network, we'll do our best to make sure that whatever stocks that we screen, whatever asset classes we look at are, of course, Sharia compliant, so you can have that level of assurance. On that note, whatever stocks that we do recommend, we have done our best to do our screening to make sure that they are Sharia compliant, and stocks status does change. So sometimes they might be Sharia compliant, sometimes it might not, depending on certain factors. And so we will be updating you as you continue watching us. Let's say, for example, if one particular stock has changed the status from Sharia compliant to non-Sharia compliant, then we will be taking our positions, get out of that particular position, and notify you as well. And of course, if you want regular updates, do join our mailing list. halalinvestingnetwork.com. Join our mailing list to get updates, regular updates, tips, tricks, strategies. And if you want even more and you want to get started on your trading journey, join us on the Halal Investing Network VIP circle. Again, go to halalinvestingnetwork.com. Go there, sign up. We do have an offer for you right now. It's 30% off our annual subscription. That's really, really cheap right now. If not, you're going to miss the boat. You don't want to miss the boat.
Yeah, folks. So yeah, please do actually take a look at what we have on halalinvestingnetwork.com and see if it's a good fit for you. If it is, wait no longer, don't hesitate, just jump on board, right?
Yeah, absolutely. After all, we do this just for you. We want to help our community. The vision and mission is super, super clear. We want to help our Muslim community at least make some money, inshallah, achieve financial independence, make, trade wisely and not lose money, right? I always like to say the mantra is stop losing money and start making money the halal way. And on that note, these are our last words. We'll be wrapping up in a few more minutes. Adi, any last words from you?
Thank you, folks, for joining us. Hopefully, you will join us again in the next session, right? For us to actually take a look at more stocks and more inputs and insights from myself and Afiq.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. We are planning to, we have been doing this quite consistently, alhamdulillah, twice a week. Look out for our pick of the weeks on Monday and our midweek review on Wednesdays, live on Facebook. Do share this with your friends, comment, tell us that we're doing a good job, tell us what you want to learn, tell us anything really, just let us know. We're here to do it just for you. And so folks, this is Afiq, Chief Finance Engineer at Fuss Refinance, together with Adi Ismail, founder of Pro Traders Network, and together we set up the Halal Investing Network. We'll see you at the next one. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.